You know what's crazy? The odds of being killed by a shark or a snake in Australia are the same as being taken out by a kangaroo.
Hey, how you doing?
With over 50 million of our roommates roaming the country during the wet season, how do we all survive in this wild and crazy country? When it comes to Australia, it's easy to think you know what you're getting. Beautiful beaches, iconic landmarks, and a laid-back surfer vibe. But there's so much more to this incredible country than meets the eye. Today, I'm exploring some of the secrets that Australians want Americans to know. And trust me, you're in for a few surprises. I think it's fair to say that many Americans have some pretty weird ideas about Australia. Whether it's believing that we're all obsessed with kangaroos or that we ride them to school. It's time to clear up some serious misconceptions. And let's be real, who can blame you for thinking that? Australia does seem like a pretty exotic and far-off land. But the truth is, there's so much more to us than just our unique wildlife. There's also a misconception that Australia is somehow similar to the US, when in fact, the two countries have many significant cultural and historical differences. One of the biggest misconceptions about Australia is that it's all about the outback. You know, the stereotypical Aussie desert landscape. But did you know that Australia has some of the most beautiful and diverse landscapes in the world? From the stunning beaches of the Queensland coast to the snow-capped mountains of Victoria. There's so much more to our country than just red sand and spinifex grass. And don't even get me started on our amazing food. It's not just about Vegemite on toast. We're talking about world-class restaurants, incredible seafood, and some of the best coffee in the world. We have an amazing wine industry that's more than just yellowtail, and the food that's served at Outback Steakhouse in the US is nothing like what we eat back home. Despite all of these misconceptions, Australia remains one of the most fascinating and unique countries on the planet. From our rich Indigenous history to our vibrant cultural scene, there's so much to explore and discover. Let's talk about cultural nuances. Did you know that Australia has a thriving Indigenous culture with over 65,000 years of history? It's a culture that's deeply connected to the land and has a profound respect for the natural world. And speaking of nature, did you know that Australia is home to some of the most unique and deadly wildlife on the planet? From box jellyfish to saltwater crocodiles. Our country is teeming with animals that will make your skin crawl and amaze you at the same time. But it's not all about danger and adrenaline. Australia is also home to some of the most stunning natural beauty on the planet. From the turquoise waters of the Great Barrier Reef to the breathtaking scenery of the Blue Mountains, there's so much to explore and discover. And let's not forget about our hidden gems like the secret beaches of Tasmania or the charming country towns of rural New South Wales. One of the most interesting secrets about Australia is our vibrant music scene, which has produced some of the world's most iconic bands and artists. From AC/DC to Kylie Minogue, Australia has a thriving music industry that's worth exploring. And let's not forget about the secret world of Australian fashion, which is all about laid-back, cool and effortless style. From surfwear to high-end designers, Australian fashion is a fusion of influences from around the world. But perhaps the most surprising or shocking fact that Australians want Americans to know is that their country is facing some significant environmental challenges. From climate change to conservation, Australia is on the front lines of some of the world's most pressing environmental issues. And yet, despite these challenges, Australia is also a country that's full of hope and resilience. So there you have it. Some of the craziest secrets about Australia that Americans seem to just not know. From our unique cultural nuances to our deadly wildlife and our stunning natural beauty, there's so much to explore and discover about the land down under. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. I hope you've learnt something new and that you'll think twice before believing those Aussie stereotypes. If you've got any thoughts or experiences about Australia, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to check out all of my Australian content on the channel. Hooroo, mateys.
When your dad did it, he was much...
Okay, and when my dad told me about this, he was just like, yeah, I just came up and he did this, okay?
I just don't think he can see you from back here.